Hey, this is Justin Halpern, author of Shit My Dad Says, and you are listening to the Disturbing the Peace podcast. I will give one listener a copy of the book, so keep listening.
This is the Disturbing the Peace podcast with your hosts, Justin Lanero and Reuben Stanford.
Yo, Rube, we just came through, 6 episodes deep, and here we are, episode 7. We're going to be very, very consistent. That's something
7 is
the
the
three
God.
of us, the three of us strive to do. I know you were in Florida doing a little spring break thing. Well, what's going on, man?
Everything is good. Back in the city. Jumped off the flight. Got to spend some time out in Florida, getting some sunshine, spending time with the in-laws, which is always an interesting experience. Hung out with my wife and my youngest son, Ryan. So we had a good time. It was fun.
You didn't kill anybody on an electric bike down in Florida?
No electric bike incidents down there. A lot of golf carts, though. A lot of people riding around on golf carts and, cutting across. The teenagers, that's big down there. My son even asked for one. He was like, "Oh, can we get a golf cart?" I was like, "Yeah, see, you got that privilege in you. You feel like you want a golf cart, dude?"
There's a lot of pink-colored people, you were saying.
Yeah. While I was in Florida, Florida lets you Florida is special because, we hear about so many things going on in Florida. And you're like, dang, Florida's where crazy people go. Like, that's what my son was texting to his friends, like, where was he going for spring break? And they were like, oh, that's where all the crazy people are. But what I found to be interesting is that as much stuff that I talk about with racial incidents and what's going on in the world, I found Florida had to have way more couples that were, white and black couples, interracial dating. And I said to myself, here's the problem with being from New York City and being in the North. You can be in your own bubble. Right. The problem with being in the North is in New York City may be one of the most segregated cities in America. So you can definitely find yourself not
narrow-minded
what's happening in the rest of the world, because everything in New York is you have a black community, you have an Asian Chinatown or Bay Ridge, you have Spanish Harlem,
Little Italy, Mitch.
Little Italy, you got right. Bay Ridge is where or the Staten Island, Staten Italy, and you got all of these clusters where different races and different people gather, and then there's the ultra rich who live on the Upper West Side, Lower East Side, and they're like, fuck all of you, don't come in here unless you got the password and know what's going on. But overall, we're all separated. So when it comes down to, seeing couples moving around and enjoying just being human beings, we're still a little jaded by it. We're like, holy shit, what's going on? Why did you cross over? How are you intermingling? And that's pretty interesting. When I went down to Florida, it was just like, hey, depending on what group of people you're, what class levels, I guess it is. If you're a Waffle House employee, white, black Waffle House employees work together and they go out. Or, different parts of the community, it just seemed like it was no big deal. And I remember back in the 80s, I was like, wow, this is big. I thought the South was a given. We're against whitey, but no, right. It's definitely not that vibe.
Well, the warm weather, we can be in agreement. Mitch and I were talking before the show about how, up here it's cold as hell, right? So, in different parts of the country, I think the weather has some type of benefits in terms of people's attitudes. You hear it all the time about California, and I'm sure Florida falls in the same scope. Mr. Hurd.
Yo.
What is good and what is breaking, my brother?
Oh, for sure, man. What I appreciate about this story is it opened my eyes to something I'd never heard of, which is snooker. And for anyone that doesn't know, snooker is a variant of billiards or pool, a game that we all know and love and have probably played at one point or another. In any case, this gentleman who is in a very important snooker match is lining up a shot, like a key shot in the game. And right before he's about to hit the cue ball, an audience member rips ass like you could hear it from the back of the room. And that just bounces all around the room. Everyone's head just goes up and looks up to the right, and it's like, what?
There was some laughs, right?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, immediately the commentators go into damage control mode. It was cute. It was funny at first, and even the players kind of look at each other and are like, okay, that's a good look. And he's about to go hit the ball again, and there's a little bit of an aftershock. I guess that whoever the guy was that couldn't control himself had a little bit more in the chamber, and that's when the whole thing gets a little dark. But anyway, it's just an awesome video clip. We'll have to drop the link in the description so that our listeners can take a listen for themselves.
I mean, I thought the guy was a professional. You know, I don't know how he was able to concentrate. First of all, I know the fart had to get in his mouth. I mean, it was such a blatant, ripping of ass that it was just like, that there's no way he was going to be able to continue to kind of focus on what he had to do. I mean, have you guys ever farted in a quiet venue like that, though?
Oh, I love it, man. In certain venues, depending on the surface, too, can enhance the value of a fart. There's nothing like a good fart, but this echoed, and I looked at this, pheasant-looking pool player. He looked up to the stands like, what is going on? Like, how dare you shit yourself? How dare you shit yourself while I'm queuing up the thing? And then he looked again like he looked like he was going to go to fisticuffs, like, you shit yourself when I'm shooting the pool balls. Like, settle down a little bit. It's funny. I'm 36, we're in our 30s, Rube, you're in your 40s. Like, shit, a fart is going to be funny until the day we die, and especially a good one. And this was a real good one. Twice, like. And I was hoping that
it would have been dope if it was like at Tigers on the ninth hole or something like that. Like, that's beautiful. That's what you need at like the U.S. Open or something like that. I love that shit. That would have been awesome. Me in particular, I don't really do the farting in quiet venues. I mean, if my stomach, I probably will just walk around and actually like be launched into outer space. That's how long I might hold it. But if I'm in a grocery store, that's where I handle my business. I'm a serial grocery store fart. That's where I'll go down aisle 7 with the sugar, and I will tear it up, and I will cut around over there to that the pasta aisle real quick and see who's got caught up in my mist over there.
Look around, and you can pin it up. Like, I got young kids, so I'll, sometimes, and their asses are raunchy too. You guys know how that goes, so you can easily shit yourself and then pin it on one of them. And be like, oh, guys, really? And
if you get a dog, I just got a pup. We just got a Chinese crested powder puff, right? Mm-hmm. And as soon as the dog got here, the first thing I did was I ripped one and I was like, oh, damn it, Penny. Oh, you little stinker. Stinking up the joint. You just got here and you fucking stinking up my place.
He's comfortable. He's really comfortable. Well, we got a good slate tonight.
All right.
Several topics. And I think, in the near future, we're going to have a sports section on the show because our main sponsor is a sports company. So that will be built into the show. And, of course, Mitch will bring the health beat for certain. Rube, the first thing I want to talk to you about tonight is, we're older now and time flies. We can all agree with that. And we have kids and just time flies by. And you really have to try to enjoy what we have for time, But looking back and in hindsight, retrospect, gentlemen, Rube, what's the lesson you would teach, your younger self that today that you didn't know back then? For me, there's a few things, and again, hindsight is 20/20, and I think the three of us aspire to be better individuals. In particular, what would you teach your younger self?
Well, I think you hit it when you just said we aspire to be our best selves, and I don't want to date a show, but I think it's just I gotta give a big prayers up for Nipsey Hussle. This was a guy that promoted positivity and prosperity. He was killed in Hollywood this evening. If some of you know him, I'm sure you're feeling this loss as much as I am. I never met the brother, but I felt his positivity. I saw that he was doing good work in his community and reaching out across the nation to try to bring good vibes and also to try to share the importance of love, prosperity, and the person that killed him, someone who took the time to, to try to snuff out somebody else's life, shut this man's life down. It's unreal that people are the people you can fight for. Sometimes you can fight for people that you're loving and trying to uplift. they can also be some of the hardest people on you. To get to your question, though, being the best version of myself is the thing I would tell any young person. I tell it to my kids. I talk to kids in the schools. I talk to kids in the penal system, and anybody that I come in contact with. I mean, I just feel like there's no greater waste of time than worrying about what other people think of you. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You know, if you try to live up to what somebody else wants you to be, that's your greatest downfall. It's imperative that you create a vision for yourself, keep working towards your vision until it becomes a reality.
Sure.
And at that point, you can be free. You can be free of the shackles. You can be free of someone telling you where you need to be. You have opportunities to work and try your best just to travel down a road and achieve your goal. I think that journey is more fun than sitting down and waiting for, your parents to tell you what to do, telling your husband or your wife to tell you what to do. It's better to just take control of your life, So I would just tell anybody, if you're out there, what makes a great show is a great audience. And I know you guys out there understand that perfectionist tendencies and perfectionism is fear, and anybody that finds themselves being caught up in fear is going to also be paralyzed. So if you find yourself being stuck, not being able to move forward because you're thinking about what others have, what their outlook for your life is, and you want to do something different, break free of those chains and get out there right now and just live your best life.
That's real. I mean, what else can you say? It's easy to say now, though, right, Rube? I mean, here we are, some moons later, and I would tend to agree with that. And I think that, choosing who I hung around with and really valued the good people in my life, instead of to try to be the show off, to try to be, to try to be seen in a different light. I think it all ties into esteem. And when I had fear in one regard, I would overcompensate with humor, or if I was afraid of this, I would do that, or I would crack on you, or certain things. Now right. I think that it's, and like you said, and fear is the word, and there was a lot of it, and a lot of my youth, and of course you guys know Tuesday will be 6 years. I'll be sober 6 years, God willing, and I suppressed and I masked a lot of the deep-rooted shit within me with alcohol and drugs.
So what do you think what is it about guys? Like, I know for me, it's like when I was a teenager, the main thing was my ego.
Oh yeah.
It's my ego would get in the way.
There. Yeah. It's still there. And you wanted to be cool. You wanted to impress this person, this woman, this girl. You wanted to be cool with your boys, depending on the crowd. If you ran with a tough crowd, you wanted to, if he was a dickhead, you wanted to try to, hey, you're not soft, you're not a pussy. You want to be cool. And a lot of shit we do, even still as men, we're men, Rube, right? So it's ego driven. We want to look good. We want to feel good. And it's having humility. And again, 12 Steps to Alcohol Anonymous, which is a guide for the rest of my life. And I have not been incredibly successful at a lot of the 12 steps. And it's a daily reprieve, and there's good days, there's bad days. But a lot of it ties into humility and cleaning out. Go ahead.
So if you had to tell yourself, all right, you think back to when you were young and the moment, would drinking be one of those things that you would probably stop and say, hey, here's a way to go about it?
Yeah, it's at this point in time, and I've said this on this podcast, where I think that AA, and something along those lines should be built into schools to educate the youth at a certain age, because it's a progressive disease. So it's all cute and dandy, Mitch, when we were in high school, fucking around. It goes from a 40 to a 12-pack, to a pint, to this, to that.
Yeah, I mean, I had friends, their nickname was Six Pack.
Yeah,
we're talking about 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds named Six Pack.
Yeah, and then it was a 12-pack by the time he was 20, and by the time he was 25, it was a 12-pack plus a fifth of vodka, and then maybe a blunt or two, and it just up, and up, and then it's like, whoa, this is taking over my life. So I'm not a believer in control drinking. Now, that's easy for me to say. I'm an alcoholic. People can control themselves. Somebody can go out and have a couple beers and have a steak, and that's all good and dandy. But, a lot of my issues were some of the dipshits that I hung around with, a lot of the confidence that I did not have, that I try to portray that I did have, but it was just, I was really a pussy in hiding. And then to cover these deep-rooted things, beautiful alcohol was a beautiful suppressant, and I know that now. And it's like, so here I am, 36, 6 years sober. I'm basically an adult child, which is really hard for me to say, especially on my own show. But I'm relearning, and Matt Harmon, who works now at Yahoo, I went on his podcast a couple of years ago, and I'm relearning life at this point, which is a beautiful thing, because I don't drink, but there's a lot of shit that I missed out on because I was knee deep in the bottle and drugs, and I hung around with a lot of some good people.
Well, I think I'm doing the same thing. Like, I'm learning, like, the idea of me being my best self and being the best version of myself isn't a new idea, but I think it takes courage. I think what we're both dealing with is the idea that you have to be courageous to take control of your own life.
Sure.
Like, for me, having responsibilities and wanting to do the right thing and not wanting to disappoint. And I think there's so many rules on how to be. I didn't want to be my father. Like, I didn't want to be a man that left kids behind.
Right.
I didn't want to be a man that left kids in another country, lived separate from my kids. So what I did, though, is I immersed myself into my family and into my family. And at the same time, I also put what my own needs were and what my own desires were on the sidetrack. I put them on the back burner and pushed my family and elevated my family. Now, that's honorable, and it's definitely something that I could say was my own mission, and it was something that I envisioned. So I don't want to say that it wasn't a part of my vision, because since must have been about 9 to 12 years old, and I looked at my father and I looked at my mother and I said, I will never, ever live in a different location than my kids. I want to be in the house with them. I want to give as much of myself of them as my mother gave me. So I feel like I'm 98% my mom. I look more probably like my dad, and I have his cadence and laugh and everything. But as far as value system, I'm my mom. So I will say I did have a plan as a young kid, and I think, it drives you, so sure. Without knowing it, was that my vision? Was I a 9-year-old thinking about a manhood as a little kid? Yeah, I was. I really was thinking about what kind of dad did I want to be? What kind of husband?
A man ahead of his time. Well, let me ask you this, Rube, because I went through a separation a year or two ago, and that's, it's my 3 and 5-year-old enormous part of my life. So does it make sense to stay in a tumultuous relationship? Because I know, you say something like that, I want to eat dinner. That was a big part of my life for you. I'm in the trenches every single day now that I no longer live with my kids full time, although they're a big, huge part of my life. Mm-hmm. Do you believe in staying in a relationship, that could be kind of toxic, could be, tumultuous, just for the sake of the kids, even though the kids could kind of sense or feel that tension? Or do you, or something like that I'm doing right now, which I think is better right currently, being kind of away, even though it sucks. And there's moments where, damn, I wish I was eating dinner with them. Is that better? Or do you bite the bullet and you live a life of misery?
Right.
I think which avenue?
Listen, I think everybody has to chart their own path. But one of the things I think is if you're being physically abused, or you guys, anybody is in a relationship where they have children and there's physical abuse, verbal abuse, or that there's just no way that two parties can be adults and coexist at all. And you don't want your kids to have to endure that kind of stress, because all you really would be doing is passing along stress. They can hear the inflection in your voice. They can hear the tone, the tenseness in the house. They can see how I think there's no greater thing than to see a daughter see her father love her mother, and as well as a son to see a father love his mom.
Right.
I think those are amazing benefits. But I do agree with you. Like if it's a relationship that is so toxic that it will only destroy and add more trauma to the kid's life, I would say the two adults need to find a way to live very close to each other, put their own egos to the side, and work to the better of raising those kids and give them a healthy situation. So in general, just provide a healthy situation.
Yeah, and you share like-minded.
Yes.
The kids are the primary focal point. Like you said, you got to put the egos aside. Now, my children's mom does a wonderful job. I am doing the best that I can do, and I would agree there. You guys know my kids are an enormous part of my life. I adore them, and who's to say what the future will bring? But it's just one of these things, like you said, you can sense tension. So it is what it is right now, and I am optimistic that these kids are thriving.
I love it. Listen, I think if even if my relationship, like I said, if my relationship was bad with my wife, and I was me personally, if I was in a relationship with a woman and it was so difficult to say we realized the love is not there, but we could work together and be in this house, and we could find a way to say, hey, for the sake of the kids, we're going to be roommates. Right. We're going to be roommates. Go for it. Why divide the household money anyway to go get different apartments and do all this other stuff? Be roommates. Be respectful. Handle your business outside the home. Now this leads us to something that you and I were talking about earlier, which is getting to know a woman or getting to know a man. And sometimes people start off relationships by sending a representative. Sure. You kick game, and you don't always go into the door being, you may catch a rebound. You may catch a woman on a rebound, or you might step into the situation hearing all the faults of the man that she had previously. And, guys and women do it as well. They go, well, your last guy didn't do all these things. Guess what I do? I do everything. And they check all the boxes that the woman just laid out in front of you, saying this is what their last man didn't do. And the guys step in. And sometimes you send a fake representative. So what do you think about, like for me, I think if you start the relationship, kick it off the same way you want it to go. We just talked about having a vision for your own life. Have a vision for your relationship. Have a vision for what kind of parent you want to be. Have a vision for what kind of dude you want to be in a relationship with a woman,
And this ties into relearning life. So I've been, like I said, Tuesday, by the grace of God, I'll be sober 6 years. So before all that was, I lived a life of my life surrounded by drinking and drugs. And, you had hit and runs and in terms of women, they came and went. And I was the demise. I was the problem. Justin was the problem. In hindsight, I've heard a lot of people. Since I've been sober, I've been with, two women. And I'm still gathering myself, and I'm still, who am I? Who am I? And it's hard to, like I said to you, and I told Mitch before the show, I said, when you first meet somebody, you're not talking to them, you're talking to their representatives. As time goes by, they show their strengths, their weaknesses, and it's hard to put everything on the table. I mean, you guys are both happily married men. I'm in this place in my life right now where I'm relearning life. I'm figuring out who I am. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What do I want to improve in? But for sure, and I think everybody's fucking guilty of this. You want to put on this front. You want to go to this restaurant. You want to do this, and then you get a couple, like for me, I get a cup, that pickup line. Let's go get a drink. How about we go get a drink? But for me, it was never a drink. That was just to get in. Then by the end of the night, I'm 10 drinks deep. She's 1 drink deep. And like, wow, I was with this guy. The 7 o'clock at night was fucking beautiful. But what the fuck am I talking to at 12? This dude's got one eye up by his 5 head. The other one's down by his boob, and
Right.
He's got shit all over. He's got mustard all over his chin. He's got his face in the Chinese food bag, and he's talking about, stories from Little League baseball.
Right.
Damn, and that might not happen on the first date because you got to, all right, you got to be cheap, but that might happen on date 3 or 4, and then it's, the beginning of the end.
But now I'm cool with that though. I think the faster or the quicker you can reveal yourself. Like, don't reveal yourself to me 20 dates in, or you're like, oh, I wanted to stay this pristine individual all the way until you put the ring on my finger, and then now I'm going to show you who the hell you are, who I am. And I think that some people go into relationships being super passive too. Like, you had no direction. You didn't care. You just wanted the ass, or you just wanted to link up. But then you found out, damn, you know what? I kind of like this chick. I'm staying with her for a while, and now we're just kicking it. And now you're looking up at 6 months, 9 months in, and every time that she said she wanted to do something, you were like, I'm cool with it, or nah, it really doesn't matter. You never said what mattered to you. And then when that person says, well, the majority of the time I've been making 98% of the decisions in this relationship, then you get to the point where you're like, well, I want to become a 50% partner. Well, shit. Right. Where were you the last 2 years or whatever, however you've been in a relationship? You can't come on board now talking about you want keys and you want to take the steering wheel. No, sit your ass in the passenger seat.
There's a level of comfort and complacency, and I think we've all slipped into that. And it's, you got to keep flames alive. You got to try to be honest, and shitload of you see so many relationships at this point in my life. I'm seeing relationships and shit like that. You're hearing there's a high level of divorces, and people pop out kids, and you put so much attention on the kids that the actual relationship goes by the wayside.
Oh, it suffers.
And it suffers, and then all of a sudden, Rube, you become roommates. The flame has burnt out.
My number one rule, these kids are just a byproduct of love. If I gotta put, they're a byproduct of love. If we're talking about, if I got a situation where I gotta save my wife or my kid, and we're in a raft, tough decision. I gotta save my wife. I can make another kid. I can make another one. I mean, you're a byproduct of love. The first person that was here that I love is the wife. Now, there's an unconditional love that I have for my kids, of course, but I think that's where people go wrong. You put all your time into your kids. You stop talking to your woman. You start talking to your man. You start, I've seen women say, yo, in the house, my kid is my best friend, and we keep secrets from the father. What? Are you bugging? Like, who the hell are you in a relationship with? Because guess what's going to happen when that kid turns 18, 17, 21? You know what they're going to do? They're going to leave you in your loveless life in your house with your roommate.
That's true.
So why focus on the kids more than focusing on, building up your relationship? Me and my wife tell the kids all the time, like, listen, hold on, whoa. Go find some, go talk to someone. Go read a book. This time is me and mommy's time. This is love time. And if you stay up too late in my house, there's adult hour and there's children's hour. And you stay up too late in my damn house, you're gonna hear adult activity. You understand what I'm saying? So your best bet, R&B. Your best bet is, if you don't want to hear Anthony Hamilton, take your young ass to sleep when I told you to go to bed. Or you're going to hear some stuff that you'll be like, oh, why did I have to hear that? Oh, you guys, when you there's something that goes on in there. Yeah, you know what goes on. We may make another one. You play around.
No more of those for me. Absolutely. Put your Beats headphones on.
You've already told you've given us all a better understanding of the good work that can come out of a vasectomy. You put that out there. I appreciate that.
Get a reverse, though.
Yeah, listen. We talked about this before, Just. Women, soon as a young girl, 12, we have daughters. Your daughter, she starts having her menstrual cycle. She goes and sees a gynecologist. It's like a rites of passage. You know, moms get an opportunity to talk to their daughter about budding and being a flower that's blooming and what the experience is like and what they have to look forward to. They can go to the store. They can go to the pharmacy. They talk to the gynecologist. It's a full experience.
Yeah.
A guy doesn't talk to anybody about his penis. He don't know how his dick works until it doesn't work. That's when you go get a urologist. When your shit's leaking, or then you got a varicose vein. You know, you got a varicose vein. You know, you got to get the saggy veins that are not working, not sending the boys through well enough. They've got to get some attention, or you know what, you might be interested in, all right, I want to have a vasectomy. But up until that point, when do men get an opportunity to talk to a urologist? I know some guys don't even know what a urologist is. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't even sound like it's got anything to do with your balls. I'll never forget, this guy looked at me, he goes, unfortunately, we're talking about football. He was working on one, and then he's like, unfortunately, you have two, so I have to go to the other. I said, I'm sweating. I said, you need to chill, man. I thought you were done. No, I got to go to the other one. I'm like, oh, can I back out? You know, can we be halfway?
You want to be a 50? You want to have a 50% job done?
Yeah, it was fucked up, man. It was fucked up. I almost hit the deck, man. It was kind of like my kids came out. They both were C-sections. I said, man, that looked like that was some. I almost hit the deck when both of those guys were born. And this.
Oh, you went below the blue screen?
Well, there was one way in the door, and they knew when my daughter was coming. Like, all right, he almost hit the deck with Easton. Now, and they brought me in. And it was like, damn, it looked like a bomb went off, and I'm like, man.
Did you have natural or C-section?
No, they were C-section. So it was like she was over here, but he was over here. It looked like a grenade went off in the room.
Yeah, they put all the
everybody was alive,
tape, bro.
It was crazy, man, and we're having a conversation. I'm like, how are we talking? But it was beautiful. I mean, it was a beautiful thing.
I never looked below that blue screen. You're bugging.
There wasn't in this maternity ward, you just one door in.
Really?
So you look and everything was just boom. There was no, it was crazy. It was wild, and those are memories.
I stayed right up there. I was holding hands right up there by the face.
Yeah,
stayed right there.
You know, it was wild. It was, but again, the vasectomy was crazy too, because it was like a psychological thing almost. You don't really, you're numbed up a little bit, but I was the last appointment. But then you're thinking, you saw the video, you know what's going on under that, what he was doing. It was like, wow, I'm gonna faint here. But all is good. All is good. Like I said, that story about how it worked. So for real. All right, Rube. Listen, a lot of negativity in the world, man. You don't have to look very far. Christ, we do a lot of football shit, and there's a lot of negativity in the football world, and I'll be one of the first. And a lot of people know me as somebody that will step in, and I don't care who, what company you work for or something like. And I've had conversations with some heavy hitters in the NFL world and the writers and radio people, and calling them out in terms of how to treat people on social media, so on and so forth. But man, the president of the United States is a it's not a huge political show. All the politics are going to be on the show, of course. But look at Donald Trump. I mean, he is the face of negativity as far as I'm concerned.
He's an asshat.
Yeah, he's a. You know what? Forget about the politics. Let's talk ethics. And he's not a guy that you would chill with. I think he's a complete jerk off, but it is what it is, and it doesn't. It's interesting is some people still support him, but I like, it's like, how can you support that? But it helps me like kind of weed people out of my life, because if you stand for what he stands for, then I really don't like you, because AA teaches you, or the sobriety tries to teach you like positivity. So, Rube, negativity, naysayers, like, how do you go about that in your day? For instance, if somebody was to say to you, Rube, and we get a lot of good feedback about this podcast. A lot of people love this
great
podcast.
Feedback.
Yeah,
great
hell yeah.
Feedback.
And we're trying to shoot, and we'll get better and better and better as time goes by. We're not going anywhere. In fact, we're going to have T-shirts. They're on the press right now down in Nashville, Tennessee. We got I might as well be able to say DraftKings is going to sponsor the podcast. But you'll have people going, well, you and Reuben and Mitch, and there'll be negativity about the podcast. Well, that's not going to knock me down. I remember being on social media or Twitter with 40, Twitter followers and talking to Dave Richards, CBS Sports, and he tweeted me something. I kept the tweet. He was like, "I want you to never stop trolling me." Now he works down Fort Lauderdale with Jamie Eisenberg. I'm sure you know who those guys are.
Absolutely.
Dave is a friend of mine now. We have met, we have hung out, we text each other, we talk about our kids. So it's funny how things. So here's a guy calling me a troll. Like if I took, with 30, 40 Twitter followers and I stopped doing some of my passions in the football world, and that's just a small dose there. Who knows? Who knows what it would be like? But there's going to be negativity thrown at you left, right, from every angle. How do you deal with it today, Rube?
Me, I stay away from the people. I think it's funny. Sometimes I think like people that when you walk into a conversation and the first thing they ask you say, "Hey, how's it going?" And you say, "Fine." Then they don't really have anything else to say. That's like almost a clear giveaway that this person is here for the bullshit. But to me, naysayers are pessimists who just want to hear bad news, and sometimes they want to deliver the bad news, or they just want to extinguish your dreams. So I kind of sidestep them. If you're looking at football or basketball, I just pivot. I always look for an opportunity to get away from them, because naysayers, they got one job to do. If a naysayer actually giving you some advice, he's not a good naysayer. A naysayer, he just may be he may have some negativity in his life and he just doesn't know how to have a good conversation. But a naysayer's job is, his sole purpose is to keep you stuck. You understand what I'm saying? So the moment that you say you can, it's his job to say you can't in some way. Hey, Just, you want to have a drink? And you just finished telling the dude, "Yo, I'm trying to stop drinking." The first thing he'd say
you can have one.
Come on, one won't kill you, man. Stop bullshit. That's a naysayer. So if you got people like that in your life, if you got a dream or a passion, hey, you want to start a business, you want to start something that means the world to you, and somebody comes out and they just start trying to shit on your dreams, those are people you run from. Those are people that you can listen to for a moment just to scope out and see where they are. And then once you recognize what they are, you just move on. It's important that people take that moment to find out why people are bringing you bad news, and find out whether or not are you attracting naysayers. Is it something about you that is attracting people? Are you using the word jealous a lot? Like, this person's jealous of me. Or, naysayers love that. Or people that are cynical love to hear other people talking about who's jealous or who's envious of your life. That's all a bunch of bullshit. So being in Jealous One's Envy. Fat Joe. Yeah, exactly. That's Fat Joe's album, right?
Yes.
So, I work at King Supreme Court, and, I never use those kind of words. Now, I know there's some people that look at me and they go, "Man, that fucking Reuben is, like you said, he's a little bit much. He's a tough one to swallow." But in the end, I look at it like this: as long as I have teeth, I'm going to smile, brother.
Oh, you're a smooth brother, Rube. Who could say anything negative about you? You're probably too raw, Rube.
You call me Ja Rule? What's going on?
I know. No, I'm over here. We got 11 o'clock on a Sunday. The truth hurts, man. And some people can't. Damn. One of my childhood friends called me a narcissist the other day. I said, "You're the first dude who's called me a narcissist," and it's a powerful word to like look up and shit. Like, the truth hurts. People don't want like straight shooters and real topics as we talk about on this show. It's crazy, and you're one of these people, Rube, where you come heavy, and people get comfortable, and negativity breeds negativity, man.
Right.
And I'll tell you, it's there's a lot of envy. There's a lot of jealousy.
Look for these people in your relationships. If you're out there and you got a good relationship, and you've got something going on, you and your lady that's going strong, and you got dudes trying to pull you away from your lady, hey, he may be trying to backdoor you, man. You better watch out, because I think it's just a lot of people, they don't recognize what they're hearing. Listen carefully. Your ears are not telling you lies. The stuff that people are showing you, they're showing you who they are. So if you see people that are in your life right now that's bringing you negativity, they drain you. Like if you're around somebody, whether you're in intimate relationship or whether it's just a casual relationship or a business relationship, me and Mitch and I were talking about this as well. Like, listen, people that are drain you, that look at you and saying how they can get something for nothing, that's not where you want to be in life. So talking to you, I love talking to Just, because if nothing else, Just to keep me on a high. I leave the day feeling, every time I talk to Just, it's just like, listen, I'm revved up, I'm pumped up. As they say, he puts a battery in my back. He gives me that energy feeling like, let's go out here and hit it, let's get it. So when we come to the show, I know we're gonna have treats because it's all positive energy. So yeah, Mitch, what's up out there, Mitch?
No doubt. I mean, I'm feeling you on this negativity tip. I mean, a lot of people just have negative energy because they got a heavy weight on their shoulders, and it's kind of like confirmation bias. They go out in the world and they project that negativity looking for a sounding board. They want an echo chamber to echo back to them. Yeah, the world sucks, or like, yeah, life is hard, or like, yeah, you can't do it, or like no one can succeed, because they themselves have fear of failure or fear of success or fear of the unknown. And just to have someone to, confirm that for them so that they don't have to feel as bad about themselves for being scared of change or for failure. And that's definitely like just classic, armchair psychology. You learn a little bit about that and you can start to pick that out in people everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
I definitely would say, yeah. What is it?
Don't wait for nobody else to clap for you. Clap for yourself.
Precisely.
That's what you need to do. Clap for yourself. Be your own promote yourself and show yourself love, and stay focused. Stay focused on the positive stuff. Let all of the naysayers and everybody slide on by.
What's going on in the health beat today?
Yeah. Oh, word. Yeah, the health beat is looking pretty good. Just a little tip for everyone to have a more well-rounded experience when you hit your workout up. I wanted to tell you the 5 must-haves to throw in your gym bag before you leave the house and get your sweat on. So for me, number 1, above all else, is going to be water, and lots of it. So, bring either a refillable if you want to be sustainable and not harm the environment with single-use plastic bottles. You bring some that you can refill at your facility, and you want to make sure that you're going to be well hydrated throughout your workout. Okay, I mean, if you're all right with the single-use things, then I would say 2 liters. You want to be probably consuming 1.5 to 2 liters of water before, during, and then right after your workout during that time span. The second thing that I think a lot of people don't think about is to always pack the right footwear for the job. Meaning, like, if you're doing some agility training, you don't want to have some big, goofy-looking running shoes, those joints with the big moon soles that looks like you're about to walk on Mars or whatever. You want something with some lateral support, something that's lightweight, laces up quick, and give you that quickness. Conversely, if you're doing some powerlifting, you might want some powerlifting shoes. And then if you are going for your run, then of course you want to have the correct Asics or Hokas or something that can give you the distance and give you the cushion so you'll be comfortable and not mess up your feet and ankles. The other thing that I've been rocking with lately is these so-called performance boxers, which is made by Lululemon. They're basically just compression shorts. They're not as long as like most compression shorts that I remember always getting. But what I like about them is that like they're not sewn into the shorts. Like anytime I'd buy shorts with liners sewn into them, it just feels like you're wearing a skirt or a kilt or some sort of like dress, and it's just like too loose.
Little tennis pants.
Like I'm not out there, boating and yachting with Fifi and Chad. I'm here to get, Howard lift, clean and press, and I just need to be held together because my Johnson is swinging. Like I want shit to be glued to my leg, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
Performance boxers, you definitely want to get some of those. Number 4 on the list, which...
What if you're a woman though, Mitch?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's really popular I see are all these different types of leggings. I mean, definitely the trend right now are like making the leggings as sexy as possible. Like definitely all these leggings that these women get, like they have like cutouts in them. It's like almost like tattered jeans. Like it used to just be some spandex yoga pants. Now it's spandex yoga pants with like a mesh crotch and like slits down the leg. You know, it's a whole different world because it's bordering on like pornography. You know, like fitness fashion is kind of like lingerie, and it's a big dog and pony show. But if you're a woman and you know you want to be flashy and the latest thing, then you want to start with the leggings and build your repertoire from there. So I would say that would be the equivalent of what I've found to be the performance boxers, which are totally a lifesaver. The fourth thing, which is such a game changer, is the AirPods. So, you know, Bluetooth earphones and headphones is like not a new thing, but the AirPods, to me, like they definitely stay in and stay tightly in the ear canal better than like the Beats by Dre or any of these other like Jaybird ones I had in the past. So, you know, it's just great to be able to have music, like your music, not be, you know, sort of slave to the gym music, which is on the loudspeakers. And usually it's always like techno or like EDM or some shit that I don't listen to, or top 40. And then, you know, you just want to have your playlist, your mix that's going to like set your mood and get your energy right for whatever it is you're going to do in your workouts. So some sort of Bluetooth headphones, that's key. And the last thing, which is sort of like a new thing for me, are just basic electrolytes. And they usually sell them in like little powders you can mix into your water, or little shots. Like they're basically little like tiny thimble-sized shots that are pre-mixed. And they're just great, you know, for heavy sweat activities. Like if you do hot yoga or you're doing a ton of cardio, or just like a circuit training thing where you're really draining out all your fluids. They're great for controlling the fluid balance, also regulating your blood pressure, will give your muscles, you know, the ability to contract more efficiently, and just maintaining your blood acid level more correctly. So, you know, you could do it in the form of a sports drink, but I'm usually not trying to have a bunch of like artificial colors and flavors and sugar. So I just go with the straight shot of the electrolytes mixed into water. So that's my top 5. Throw them in your bag and you'll be rocking.
All right. Well, I'm
the
on
Apple
it.
AirPods. Is that what you're suggesting? They're like a deuce, right? $200. Actually looking up today, and there's a charger now for them.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. Yeah. No, I mean they're the real deal. They're great for everything.
Good stuff. This is a beautiful show. I think this is going to be a week where we have 2 episodes, so I look forward to the next one, gentlemen. It was good.
Absolutely. I got nothing but treats from this show today.
And we are everywhere. And next will be our radio. Mitch, where exactly are we for the most part? I know iTunes, Stitcher, you know, our Libsyn is what promotes everything, is what puts all the podcasts out. But are there any other like small? Because I know we bump into people like, I listen to a podcast here, I listen to here, so I pick that up and I try to tell you about it. Where exactly are we, Mitch?
Yeah, well, since the last show, you know, Spotify finally got their indexes right, and so you can correctly find us on Spotify. That was a big one. That should have been there from the beginning, but it just, you know, some technical difficulties made it not as smooth as I was hoping. But definitely Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, and Radio Public, Google Play, and what you were saying before, iHeartRadio. They just, you know, they want to see that we've been going for a couple months before we're officially on that platform, but we'll be there pretty soon. You can check us out right on the podcast page off of Libsyn. The link will be in the description of this episode. And yeah, like I always say, if there's a place that people are checking for podcasts that you don't find us, shoot us a message and we'll get it there like immediately, basically next day. So for now,
and our email is what, Mitch?
It's going to be disturbingpcpodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, good. I think that, you know something, Mitch, and I know we're wrapping up here. I think that's a good email for people to, you know, to write us, and I'm going to encourage people to write an email. I mean, there might be a story that they want to share with us as a guest. I mean, there's going to be, Rube, we've talked about bringing in the sky's the limit as to what type of people we want to bring on for guests on this podcast.
And just let us know what you're thinking. You can hear what me and Just and Mitch have to say about a few things.
Sure.
We don't have all the answers, but we damn sure gonna talk to you like we do.
I wish we did.
See you in a week.
Peace.